Reaper 1 tricks, Reaper mains, and anyone here to learn how to counter the man in the shadows. Thank you for checking out my channel. In this video, I'm going to revisit the perk system in Overwatch 2, and specifically the current state of Reaper's minor and major perks in Season 17. I made a video about perks back in Season 15 when they were first introduced to Overwatch 2, so if you'd like an introduction on exactly what perks are, you can check it out on my channel. I'll leave a link in the comments section below. Now, in Season 17 of Overwatch 2, perks have been changed, replaced, buffed, and nerfed, and I've used each of Reaper's major and minor perks for hundreds of matches. And I want to share my thoughts on which of his perks are a yay and which are a nay. And there's one specific perk that I think if you aren't using it, you're not unlocking Reaper's full potential and you're actually gimping yourself in the process. Also, I want to hear what other Reaper players think of his 4 perks, so let me know your thoughts on them in the comments. Okay, so for starters, I think the devs have done an amazing job so far with the perks. And maybe I'm biased, maybe Reaper got the long end of the stick, but at least for the man in black, perks are a huge W. Each of Reaper's perks are viable and add something to his gameplay, making him stronger and more versatile. In fact, I think, and you may disagree with me on this, but because of the success of his perks, there's absolutely no need to rework anything about Reaper anymore. He's in a great state for the first time in a long time, and Reaper may actually be on the stronger side of the DPS hero pool. So what are his perks? Starting with the minor ones, we have the teleport perk, which reloads his shotguns when using Shadow Step and increases its max range by 25%, and the orb perk. This one causes orbs to drop from all dead enemies, which heal Reaper for 50 HP when he gets close to them. Alright, both of these are decent minor perks, nothing game breaking, but unless you're Ana, minor perks aren't meant to be a huge boost to your hero. As I mentioned earlier, I've given all of Reaper's perks a fair shake, using each one of them for hundreds of matches to get a feel for their individual pros and cons. The first perk that I want to look at is the Orbs or Soul Reaving. On paper, this seems like a very valuable minor perk, almost worthy of major perk status. 50 HP for every kill, especially since Reaper doesn't even need to be on the elimination, is very strong and can give an amazing boost to his already decent self-sustain. However, I do have a couple issues with this perk. First, the time it takes to actually collect the orbs. Unlike lifesteal, these orbs do not heal Reaper instantly. When an enemy is eliminated, there is a very short animation of the orb dropping to the ground and another to actually collect it. It may seem like a negligible amount of time, but this can be life or death when fighting multiple enemies. On top of that, you need to get very close to the orbs in order to collect them. So if I'm already fighting an enemy and another enemy is eliminated 10 meters away, it's probably going to expire before I get a chance to go and pick it up. That being said, I think Soul Reaving is in a good place considering it's just a minor perk, especially in 6v6 where there are more enemies. More players means more orbs. It also means your supports have more teammates to heal, so the less of their attention that you need, the better. As for the other minor perk, Death's Shadow, it gives Reaper another solid choice which can be very valuable on some maps and less on others. Personally, I love this minor perk. Not having to waste time reloading before or after teleporting is so nice, especially when using it mid-fight. Also, the increased range from 35 to 43 meters enables you to teleport to and from certain areas that would be unreachable without it. Another added benefit is that it enables you to get back to a fight a little faster after being eliminated. Personally, in 5v5, I prefer the convenience of Death's Shadow, but in 6v6, because of the additional player, I go with Soul Reaving because again, more players equals more orbs. But to be honest, both of these are decent minor perks, so you can't go wrong either way. Alright, on to the major perks. We have the extra healing and the double shot. When perks first came out, the extra healing or Ravenous Wraith perk was the popular choice. It gives an additional 40% lifesteal for 3 seconds after using Wraith form. Wow, so that's 70% lifesteal for 3 seconds. Basically, you're unkillable for 3 seconds, right? Not so much. This perk never really did it for me, and I'll tell you why. Think about the times when you die while playing Reaper. Is it usually because you lose a fight in close quarters and the enemy or enemies just outdamage your damage and healing from the reaping? For me, at least, this is rarely the case. When I die, it's usually a ranged hero got an angle on me, or my damage is being mitigated by a shield or a defense matrix, or I'm getting hit by some form of CC, and no damage output means no healing. So what is 40% lifesteal going to do for me when I'm not even outputting any damage? I remember a lot of people were posting clips of invincible death blossoms where the enemies just couldn't overcome the 70% lifesteal. That's great and all, but what about all the death blossoms where you get booped out of range, deflected, shielded? The list goes on abilities that completely shut down Death Blossom. And you know what? Even 200% lifesteal isn't going to save you when your spin to win isn't hitting anybody. In general, I just think this perk is kind of overkill on the lifesteal. It can save your butt from time to time, but it's very situational. And finally, we have Reaper's Dire Triggers, la pièce de résistance. This perk is it. I'm gonna say it, if you're not using Dire Triggers, you are trolling. This perk has received multiple buffs since Season 15. It used to be very clunky, but now can be weaved in with your regular auto attacks with no delay. The damage potential from Dire Triggers is insane. It makes Reaper a threat even from 25 meters or more. Every 4 seconds, you can blast the enemies with up to 276 damage. The spread is significantly smaller than Reaper's auto attack, and there's no damage drop off until 25 meters. There's nothing situational about this perk, it just slaps. You will get significant value from it every match. Now that the recovery time is the exact same as your auto attack, there's absolutely no reason not to choose this perk. The only complaint some people may have is that the shotguns don't fire simultaneously. There is a very slight delay between the first and second shot, but nothing you can't accommodate for. And I'm pretty sure this is by design, so it seems like Dire Triggers is in its final form, which, for me, is utter perfection. Finishing enemies at range, burning cooldowns like Tracer's Recall, poking enemies before a fight, the possibilities are endless with Dire Triggers. And one last bonus is that it usually costs 2 rounds to fire, as you're shooting both shotguns, but if you've only got 1 round left, you can still use it and get both shots off. Once you get used to Dire Triggers, you're gonna feel a huge power spike late in matches when everybody's got their major perks. So yeah, 100 times out of 100, I'm taking Dire Triggers over Ravenous Wraith. So that's it for Reaper's perks in Season 17. There's just one more thing I wanted to share. In a previous video, I introduced a workshop for practicing Reaper. This workshop doesn't have perks turned on standard, but if you want to be able to practice them in the Reaper training facility before loading in, go to Settings, Modes, scroll down and click on the active mode, and you'll see that perks are disabled. Just click to enable them, and now you can practice using Dire Triggers or whichever one you want against AI Reaper and many other heroes. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching, and until next time, may your death blossoms be bloody.